Thank you. Okay, I know this is hard. We've got the last two spots of the day. So thanks for coming back and joining us. It has been so nice being here. It's our first one. Rebecca invited us, connected us with Marilyn, and I'm so glad that she did. We've had a great time here. My partner, Becca, is back there too. So yeah, I'm really excited. I already forgot where the clicker was. He told me exactly where it was going to be. So yeah, today we're going to talk about how we at Allerton Hill work together with superintendents to execute your mission. And I'm really excited to be sharing the stage with Rebecca. This is our first time sharing a stage together. It won't be our last, I'm sure.
And I'm basically just going to gush about them the whole time. So I apologize.
Well, I'm going to gush about her, so it's going to be a good little love session. But just to let you know a little bit about who I am, these are my why. I am the proud daughter of a trailblazing female superintendent. She served in public schools for most of her career. She spent 10 years as superintendent in 2 different districts. And, for those of you, I think, Kim, you said it at one point, you wonder if you've focused on the wrong things. And as a daughter, watching my mom totally kick ass at her career from when I was 8 years old, and she taught me how to make macaroni and cheese and frozen chicken nuggets so she could go back to school and get her administrator's license, to now when I just look up to her and I thank her so much for showing me what it looked like to work really hard for other people, to do something that matters. And just to encourage you, for those of you that might be questioning if you're making the right decisions, as a daughter of a superintendent, I try to tell her all the time, I'm really grateful that she showed me that example. And then I have 2 little boys. They are also in public schools and learning to read, so really excited to hear about everything going on with Ignite. And they're my why. I got my career, I started in politics, and I like to say that now I use my powers for good and not evil. But the reason I got into this work is really all because of my mom. She was at a very affluent school district doing really incredible things. Like I said, total trailblazer, created a collaboratorium building with a greenhouse on top and design spaces and movable walls and flexible furniture before that was what everyone was doing. And, one day the billionaires in town woke up and decided they didn't want her to be the superintendent anymore, and 6 months later she was out. And I think at the time I was in politics and I looked back and I thought she just didn't have the right support in the right places. She didn't know, how to navigate that. She was always doing what was best for kids. But the reality is that there's a lot of people in communities who play a big role in what happens in your school systems and what happens in your classrooms, and they don't always care what's best for kids. And so I decided to get out of politics and start supporting schools, superintendents, and female superintendents like Rebecca.
And she does a great job. She makes me look a lot better than I actually am.
Never.
So thank you. And actually, Gia's a little bit younger than me, but like one of the most astute, thoughtful, deep people that I have met. And I think people are brought into our lives for different reasons. And as a female myself, I don't want to speak for you or all females, but sometimes you have this imposter syndrome, right? 6% of us to 20% of us are sitting in rooms with male superintendents looking around like, do we fit in? Where do we fit in? And Gia's one of the people that always reminds me, like, no, you're supposed to be here. You're amazing. Keep doing the great work. So I always appreciate that. So she's like a cheerleader behind the scenes, which we all need. And I'm not nervous about this presentation, but what I am nervous about is it called Reiki?
Yeah.
It's called Reiki. I'm having that tonight. And I'm worried what they're going to say is just like, you're really messed up, just in general, and I can't fix you. But we'll see, and I'll let you know tomorrow how my Reiki goes and where my energy's at, but I'm quite nervous about that. So this is my family. And I have a little bit of a story about each of them. My husband, Jason, is an amazing support, and I wouldn't be able to do what I do without him. We've been married for like 20-ish, 24 years. I'm not good with that kind of stuff. He's the emotional one in the relationship. And when I met him, when I was a baby, 19, and I'm sorry, there's a little underage drinking here, he had a bathtub full of beer on the vacation he was on. And I was with my girlfriends, and at the time that seemed very attractive. My standards have changed a little. But it was just luck. Like, he's grown into this great man, this great father, and on occasion we still have a bathtub full of beer. So we're doing well. And I think why it's so important for us to build our brand and market ourselves is I think many of us started in the classroom where we wanted to just take care of kids and help them learn. And our sphere of influence was smaller, but so was the sphere of people judging or looking or haters. And as we've grown in our leadership and in our positions, it's changed. I'm much more of a politician. I'm a brand ambassador of my district. And with that comes hard decisions. And with comes hard decisions come people who may or may not like you or like the decisions that you make. And what I land on and what keeps me going through those times and to get out on the other side in a positive way is this brand that I'm building for myself and this brand that I'm building for our district and showcasing all the positive things we're doing so when we're in those lower points, we can come back up. And that's really why I think that this work is so important. And we do a lot of great work, right? Like in the back office, but we forget about this marketing piece and that we have to showcase that work because I do think this is more women than men. We just want to do good work and we don't always need recognition for that work. But if we don't stay in the positions, we can't do the work anymore. So that's why this is so important. And one of the things I've grown in, which we'll talk to a little bit more, is being vulnerable. So I started as an assistant principal at 25. So I'm Rebecca Jenkins now. I used to be Becky. And when I got my first job, I was like, I'm going to cut my hair off, and I'm going to be Rebecca, and I'm going to be super professional and wear like clothes from Chico's when I'm 25. And I did all of those things. But what I've grown into is like just a more authentic person. Like I can wear a little bit shorter skirts and let my hair down and still be good at my job. And it doesn't matter like what you look like or what your style is, but it's about how you treat people, the work that you do. And that's been my kind of journey of learning to be authentic and capitalize on my own strengths without losing who I am as a person.
And she really is a great leader. So we're going to talk about a bunch of different things in our presentation, but really what I hope you walk away with is some ideas about how you can embrace your authenticity and how you can start to put that on a stage. Because like Rebecca said, you are a brand, you are your decisions for better or worse, and if you're not putting the work in to be perceived in the right way, it will backfire, for better or worse. So first things first is Rebecca and I got started working together because she was a deputy superintendent in another district. And when she got her superintendency, we immediately got to work as the friends that we are on your 100-day plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what Gia was so good at is like I knew how to be out there, right? Like a 100-day plan seems simple. We all know to do that when we get in into a job at the first time. But being very intentional about where I'm at. what I'm doing. Gia and Allerton Hill really pushed me out of my comfort zone. I had not done a lot of like video marketing or videos about myself or the community. I was like, but I have a double chin. I don't look my best. Like, are you sure we can send this out? Is there better lighting or editing? But it doesn't matter. Like, people want to connect with you. They want to see you. They want to hear your message because they believe in the person that's leading your district or your department or your building or even your family before anything else. So what was very interesting and something I had changed in this job from my last job is showing them who I am as an individual. So I am a Leo, and I'm also an Enneagram 8, which just means I'm like really bossy and really kind of closed off. So when I was 25 with my short hair, changing from Becky to Rebecca, my Chico's outfit, I didn't let my staff know who I was. Like, I wanted to do the work, I wanted to be professional, but I didn't know how to build that authentic relationship. And I want to tell a little quick story, just even about my life in learning to be more vulnerable and accepting the person I am and showcasing that in the light of my job. Is about 6 years into my career, I was a principal at 27, so around 32. My husband and I, we wanted to have children, but we struggled with having kids. And I didn't really tell anyone. Like, that was very private. That's not something I was going to talk about at work. I wasn't going to share that with people. And for some reason, I was like, listen, I think I need to let people in a little more. So at work, I started to share, Jason and I really actually do want to have kids, but it's a struggle for us. And I kid you not, it's another one of those, blessings from beyond. From the moment I started sharing that with people till the time we had our daughter was 4 weeks. So just through connections, someone was pregnant and unable to parent the child, and we had a mutual connection. And they introduced us, and we went out to dinner. And at dinner, Mackenzie's birth mom was like, "You're supposed to be this child's parents." And we named her at the table together, and Jason and I were in the room when she was born. And to this day, I believe that journey was because my journey of not being able to get pregnant was so that Mackenzie could be our daughter and we could be a family. Thanks. But it was it took me to be vulnerable. It's okay to be vulnerable, but it's scary in these jobs because when you're vulnerable, people can attack you more. Right? I'm a little loud and I come into a room and I kind of take it over, and that can be a bad thing, but it can also be a good thing. And then you just have to find the right place for you. So during this 100-day plan, Gia said, she's this cheerleader behind the scenes. She's like, "You're amazing. Just go out there, be your authentic self, tell them what you're about, connect with them." And it's honestly the most beautiful right now. I mean, who knows in 5 years from now, it's the most beautiful place for me. And our district and my leadership is just the right fit at the right time so that we can do really good work together. And then we did some strategic things like making sure I was in the right places, listening to parents, listening to kids, listening to staff, going in the parade at the 4th of July and waving, being all of those places. And then something I'm still getting better at is knowing when and how to rock the boat. I'm actually a very fast mover and decision maker, so I always need to pause and make sure I'm making the right decisions at the right time in the district. An example of that is our entire administrative team, except one person, has changed over since I've been there, but that's okay. But how I can get through all of that change is this impression that I made on the onset that really Gia and her team helped me cultivate and create, which I couldn't have done on my own. Because when you're out there, I'm not in my office writing memos that are really amazing. Gia might be helping me write that message so that I can be in the places that I should be making those connections.
Absolutely. So, knowing when and how to rock the boat is such a key critical skill, whether you're superintendent or director level. And we wanted to give you all time to kind of turn and talk at your tables about maybe a time that you have either gone too fast or maybe you knew, like you had a knowing in your gut or in your chakras or whatever, you've explored this week, where you knew, hey, I've got to take this a little bit slow. I think we all have learned a lot from each other. So if you want to take a couple minutes and kind of share your insights on that. If you learned something great from the person at your table, now's the time to tell them that they're tapped to share. Did anybody have a good story that got shared at their table that we could all learn from, benefit from? I see pointing.
I think Kim has a microphone that you can bring. Yeah, thank you. We didn't do a conga line, so I think that this is okay.
That was on the table, yeah.
My moment I shared was when George Floyd was murdered. Putting people business out there. I'm in the Pearson Virtual Schools Network. And Pearson Virtual Schools had their PR side wrote an email for all the superintendents, our school leaders to send out. But I read the email, and as a black woman, I said, I'm not sending that email out. This is not hitting the way it should hit. And when you said sometimes you got to slow down to go fast, I took my time. I told the PR people for Pearson, no thank you. I'm going to write my own letter, and I'm really going to make sure I hit the tone correctly because this is a big deal, and if you don't handle it correctly, it can blow up. And as I was telling my table mates, it did actually blow up on the people that sent that letter out. So I was really glad that I slowed down and really kind of redid our approach on how we're going to move forward with the climate in the country and in our state.
Absolutely.
Oh, my chakra. Yeah. So tonight, you're going to be great, okay?
Sure.
She told me that my chakras were good. She said, you are flowing. And then she said, and you're grounded. She said, the only thing that's a little off is your third eye. Now, mind you, I'm like, I don't know what the hell a third eye is. And she said, but that's usually for people who are educators or nurses or doctors. She didn't even know we were all here, right? And so she said, because you have to protect yourselves because people are always dumping stuff on you, and it's a form of protection. She said, but that's it. Like, the energy's just flowing through you. I said, thank you very much. Anyway, I said, it's because I'm here. Because if you would have did this the first night.
You know that's not helping my anxiety if they're going to tell me I'm really messed up tonight.
Well, thank you for sharing that story. I mean, yeah, absolutely. That was a really difficult time to walk through. We worked with a lot of superintendents on that. Thank you for sharing. One of the things that, we did at Libertyville that I think was really great and came out of Rebecca's initial introduction to the community was she took a whole year to learn from her staff, her students, her families, and Rebecca is wonderful and loves to talk. She's great at speaking, and I really pushed her and encouraged her to listen a lot, and she did. She did a great job of that and going a little bit slow in that first year. And one of the things that came out of it was that we needed to work on the customer service mentality of her front office staff. And I should have asked you before. Do you remember what the sign said? What was the sign?
It was basically like, don't talk to me, and I'm not here to help you.
And it was
basically what the sign said.
It was like a plaque at the front, like, and her receptionist in one of the school buildings had that on her desk. And so we were like, okay, we're going to talk about customer service. And so we worked together and we talked through, okay, what do we need them to work on? What do we want the outcome to be? And I came in and gave a customer service training on delivering a Disney experience. And, I thought it went well, but the real proof in the pudding was that individual, literally, I think that day, went back to her desk and took down the sign. But all of that really came from Rebecca listening and finding the root cause. I think, Dr. McCall, you said that, like finding the root cause of the problem, right? People aren't feeling welcome when they come in. They're not feeling like they are getting to the answers that they need. Well, we got to go to the root cause of that. And so it's just one example of what came of that first year. Since then, we've built out an entire communications system for Rebecca and her team. We've got Sweetsa and Candace here from the district, and we work with the whole team, her entire cabinet. She's changed over, but built a wonderful team. We worked with them before, and so what we've done is institute some systems and frameworks. The important thing about communication is consistency. You can use lots of different methods and tools, but the important thing is for your stakeholders to know when they're going to hear from you and how, and then just maintaining that consistency. So we do a monthly email newsletter to all the families in the district and community members that sign up. We do a monthly email to all the staff, and that includes a lot of information, but it also includes a lot of staff recognition and awards and things that they've instituted to kind of build the culture they want to build. Then we also do publications like this. Rebecca and her team do a great job of consistently showing up to the staff meetings and to the parent-teacher organization meetings. We do the presentations to make sure that we are displaying the best side of the district and giving really Rebecca and her team, the proof of the work that's happening, the pictures. You can see here just this one publication, but lots of great just smiling pictures of kids, and we focus on the things that everybody can agree on. There are times where we talk about the real tense issues in society, and then there are times where we're just talking about kids learning how to read, because everybody can get excited about that.
But it takes two, and I don't stand up here lightly besides Gia. I absolutely endorse who she is and what she and her company do, and that she took an employee who had a sign up that basically said, I don't want to help you, spent 2 hours with them, and the employee took it down by themselves. Like, that is a skill set. That is a big deal. There was no confrontation. There was just learning and growth and change in a positive way. And that is pretty significant. I know we just have a few minutes left, so we'll go through the next 3 slides very shortly. But another thing that I really they don't call themselves this, but I call them this because I'm a Leo and an 8, so I just say whatever I want. But Allerton Hill is really a boutique firm. Right? So like if we have a problem, they're there to help us no matter what the problem is, but they also have a structure of which they communicate and do all of these other great things. And one of the things is that she's a problem solver and just a person I can call when I'm trying to do these things and grow my team, when I'm trying to make sure I'm connecting, when I'm trying to have a conversation that might be difficult. I can call Gia and say, hey, this is what I was thinking, this is what I'm running through, how does this sound, how does it feel when it lands, the culture of openness, all of those things for all of the people in the room who've read Radical Candor, which I firmly believe in. She is behind the scenes supporting me and doing that as kind of like my work best friend. And then it's really to get to this place of success, right? Where we have great relationships so that we can make hard decisions, so we can come out on the other end and still look amazing. And then Allerton Hill also does all of our social media, and I think that's where we'll end with the social media slides after we talk
Yes.
about poise under tension.
Oh, yes. So one of the things that I think superintendents really need, and that my mom was lacking on her team when she needed it most, was someone on the outside that could support when there's tension in the district. Your job is to be poised and graceful, to walk your staff, your students, your families through some of the most difficult things that come. And Libertyville had a series of really tragic child loss, student deaths due to cancer. And it was really traumatic for the community. Rebecca did a fantastic job of helping the community grieve these beautiful children. And what came out of that was some questions about the environment. Is there something wrong with our buildings that's causing all of these? And that was a really tough issue that we walked through together to figure out, okay, what do we need to be doing in the background? And how are we presenting on the surface? Because we need to keep everyone calm, but we also need to be really transparent and open and honest about our researching whether or not there is something wrong. And so we work together through that. And crisis looks different everywhere, but only you, those in the room that are working with your schools, with your students, with your staff, can be that poise and that grace to maintain, the environment. So we do that a lot more than I think we'd like to, but I think we're pretty good at it. But yeah, so one of the things that we do that's a little more fun is social media support and management. And Rebecca is, if you can tell just from the time that you've spent with her here, she has a fantastic laugh, is absolutely contagious. She might be an 8, which is also sometimes called a bulldozer. But she brings people in. And one of the things that she has done a really great job of on her team is to bring people in and to allow people the opportunity to shine and to feel like they can put their work and what they are proud of on a pedestal. So I think sometimes as women, especially our teachers even, they might not feel like they need the recognition, but they might not feel like it's as special as it is. And so Rebecca does a fantastic job of taking out the cameras, doing the selfies. We gave everybody little cell phone lights in your welcome bags, if you noticed. Those are rechargeable lights so that you always have good lighting. Rebecca's like, she's a photographer now. She's like a little higher. So we wanted to support you all in being able to shine your light and be able to share the good things that you're doing, but also that your team is doing, because we know that when you model that you're proud and that the work deserves a spotlight, more people will be proud and share their work. And at the end of the day, that is just good for schools, and that's good for kids, and that's good for families to celebrate what's happening in our schools. And so I encourage you all to think about how you can find a way to be a little more contagious with the joy you feel, especially leaving here and going back. What you're proud of that's happening in your schools, your buildings that you've shared here. How are you going to kind of share that contagious joy?
And thank you for having us. It's been so fun. It's my second year. Thank you, Marilyn. You're amazing, and we love this experience and convening. But whether you have to pay for it like I do or not, and you just have a friend, I hope you all have a Gia in your life, because she's pretty amazing.